number of jars out of their respective nooks and crannies, and these are all jars with dry ingredients, some that I dehydrated myself, others that I purchased dry. I have things like raisins and nuts and popcorn and beans and the apples that I dehydrated, a whole bunch of potatoes that I dehydrated. I have rice here. I have 2 kinds of tea. I have a chamomile that I grew. I also have store-bought dried mushrooms that I did. I also have, this is a mix that I created for pickling. I have dried onions that I made. Now, all these jars have one thing in common. They're dry goods and they're not vacuum sealed. Because my vacuum sealer attachment stopped working a while ago, and today I decided to pull out some of these jars. I'm hoping to get at this lot, and once I get past this lot, I may dig out for more. But I'm going to vacuum seal each one of these, and I may readjust and downsize for the jars that have been used. Like I have a little bit of breadcrumbs left in that one. I have some jars that perhaps could go to, some contents that could perhaps go to smaller jars, and I could free up some of the larger ones for other things. So that is my task today, is to clean up, rearrange, wipe down, and vacuum seal all these jars, and I should be able to free up some of these plastic lids for myself. So, quite the job. Okay, and as I go along, I will show you how I do this, and likely put them aside as I go. I have tried to make a bit of room through this so I have a path to work with. Now, I did test my vacuum sealer on this large jar of carrots, and it did seal. As you can see, I can hold it up by the lid itself. It's a little more particular than my other one was. So some of the lids would seal, some would not, but I finally found one that did. Now I also have a whole bunch of these, well, not a whole bunch, but I have a box and probably almost 2 boxes of these snap-tight lids, which I'm not happy with to use for canning. So if I have difficulty using some of my used lids, I have no problem using these new ones for dry vacuum sealing. The other thing I do is that, yes, I do leave a ring on, because there is the potential, although small, for these lids to loosen up. So I always leave a ring on them as well. So as I go along, I will put them aside and give myself room to move here. I could start off with the ones that I know. I have a lot of potatoes. I think if you've been watching my videos, we were completely concerned about a potato shortage. So I think I have, I don't know, 150 pounds of potatoes dehydrated. I have 2, 4 of the large ones. 1, 2, 3, 4 smaller jars. And I also, and these are shredded carrot bits, and, potato bits, and also flaked ones. So, yes, I have quite a lot of potato here. I have quite a lot of breadcrumbs here, because I bought a huge load of breadcrumbs in bulk. So I think I will get my potatoes off the table, just because they represent a fair chunk here. Now, what I will be using to seal is this accessory that you can buy for your food saver. It is a food saver jar sealer, and they come in 2 sizes, both the wide mouth and the regular mouth. And I always found, for some strange reason, that the regular mouth had very little difficulty sealing. The wide mouth on occasion had more so. But we're going to start with our wide mouth here. And first thing I'm going to do is take off this extra piece, which we don't need. We just need this attachment. And this cord is long enough as long as I stay close. So let's start off with the very largest. As you can see, that is a used Bernardin lid, and this should seal. But if it doesn't, as I say, I have the other ones available. Now, the trick is just to push that right in. Fit that on, and we just want, I guess I have to lock this in order for it to work, and just hit the seal button. And it's nice, this one does not make noise when it just seals. Oh no, actually I don't want to just hit the seal. I want to vacuum handheld. And I can hear the noise changing, so it is working. And it appears to have sealed now. And good, this one has sealed. When I tried it with some of the lids that wouldn't work, when I pulled this, I could feel the air coming out. So this should have sealed nicely. Let's see. Yep, managed to pull that off. And I can pull this up by the lid. And as you can see, it has sealed beautifully. So I guess there was an advantage to my old one dying, and yes, I'm just adjusting to this new food saver, but at least this feature works, and that is great. So that is one jar out of the way. Let's go to jar number 2, and this is giving me more room. Once again, this lid looks like it should work without any issue. Like, you try to make sure that they are reasonable lids. And here we go again. The sound is changing, and it looks like it's sealed. And it's stopped. And I don't want to shove this in too hard. The last time I did that with the other one, I broke this little bit off. But just enough to give it a contact there. Pull this off, and voila, we got a great seal there. And once again, I'm going to replace the ring and put it aside. So that's wonderful. That is working beautifully. Now this is something I've wanted to do for a long time, but as I say, because my vacuum sealer attachment had died, and I was trying to avoid buying a new one, and I'm not really terribly fussy on using this brake bleeder that I've seen other people use. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with using it. That's just that I wasn't terribly fussy on using it. Now, once again, these are all ones that I'm choosing, the ones that I know the jars are full. And these were red potatoes. As you can see, there is sometimes a bit of a variation between the potatoes, but that's because I bought different. I think these ones were from my garden. Yes, they were. The red potatoes were from my garden, which is even more wonderful. Okay, let's get to this again. Sound is changing, and it's done. I'll wait till the light turns off. There we go. And pull this off, and it's sealed. Now, when it doesn't seal, sometimes when you go to pull this off, the lid ends up in here as opposed to left on the jar. Once again, sealed. Put the ring on, and I'm going to finish off all the potatoes and give myself a little more room here. I've got one, two, oh yeah, a whole bunch more potatoes that I can get out of the way. These jars are all potatoes, and that one once again is a different, I think I just cut that differently, that's all. And I also used different tools to cut them as I went along. Okay, this time I'm going to need a lid, and I'm going to salvage one of those. So I'm going to try one of these snap tight lids. They should work. Brand new, never been used. And hopefully that they'll at least be useful for this job. Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, appears to have sealed. Let's see. Good job. So definitely if I wanted to use new lids, I would buy these cheap ones for this particular job. Now I have to set this aside because I still want to find, well, let's just pull off a ring from someplace else for the time being and finish this one off. Perfect. Moving along here. Another one. How about the one with my potato slices? That did get a bit dusty there. And you see, it's a good used Bernardin lid. Here we go. Perfect. I'm really happy that I have this feature working again. So that's sealed. And I'm checking every one as I go along just by lifting them by the lid that I just sealed. Okay, this is going better than I thought. So I'm going to reorganize this lot and continue along, and I'll let you see it when it's done. Okay, my apple slices I'm going to keep in a non-vacuum sealed jar. That's all I've got left of them, so that'll be my go-to jar. But I did downsize it because I want to free up this larger jar for other things. So this is also part of the process I'm going through, is reorganize, rejar, make use of the jars to the best of their ability, and have a cleaner pantry when I'm done. Okay, and of course I decided to free up this large jar and use it for my 1 gallon jar and use it for penne, because penne are one of those go-to pastas that we eat, and I prefer to use this jar for something that we're going to store for a while. So this allows me to put another one of my bags of penne in that jar. And it also frees up my half-gallon jar for something else. And when this empties out a bit, I'll put another bag in there. But for now, I can only fit one large bag in there. Of course, going through the process of getting another bag of pasta out of my 5-gallon buckets where I keep them, I found another jar of potatoes. And once again, another one of my homegrown red potatoes. So Yeah, you're finding things in the nooks and crannies where you hide them. At least this way I will reorganize everything and I'll know where everything is again. Okay, I also found a jar of dehydrated onions that I do not plan to seal, but I'm going to put into the oven and continue to dry them a little bit more. And perhaps I can turn them into a powder now, but I'm going to try to dry them out totally. I don't know if putting them in the oven will help or make any difference, but I plan to do that. It looks like it would crumble easily enough right now, but I think oven drying will also help speed the process. I'm also going to do that with a whole bunch of tomatoes that I dehydrated, and they're more chewy than they are crispy, but I want to see if I can get these down into a powder, and these were my cherry tomatoes. And if I could make a tomato powder out of this and use it in pasta, it'd be awesome. And here I'm talking about, just like I did with the spinach, making a red pasta with the tomatoes. I'm learning though, whenever you use dehydrated stuff, turn it into a slurry first and get it a bit moist again. Okay, coming along here. Okay, well, I've got almost everything sorted, vacuum sealed, cleaned, repackaged where it needed to be, just changing the lids and rings where it needed to be, and they're ready to go back into a pantry or wherever I found a niche to put these jars in. The ones that I did not bother with are those few. They still have plastic lids, and those were going to be my go-to jars. So these are open more often, so they won't be vacuum sealed, although they could be, and then just do them every time, but I just don't want to go through that process. Anyway, it's been quite the process. This is Tony from her Homestead Skills, and that is how you vacuum seal. Now these are short term, they're not the long term storage items for your pantry. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.